Listen to the vibes.
The views and opinions of our guests may not necessarily reflect those of the host or the Vibes Broadcast Network. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. I have Brenden from Master Talk, and we're catching up today. It's been a little while since he's been on the show, and I know you were just kind of had that as a side hustle, and now you said everything's gone full time. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Thanks for all your early support, man. Would have been possible people like yourself believing in me. I think the last time I was on your show, Master Talk had like 1,000, 2,000 subscribers probably on the YouTube channel. And today, I mean, the number is like 20 times bigger, which is pretty amazing. And I think back then as well, I didn't really have a business either. I was kind of just talking about Master Talk for fun, practicing on podcasts, meeting cool people like yourself. But yeah, now I have a full business. Now everything's working really well, and I've been able to quit my corporate job. So super grateful.
Oh, you need to send some of those subscribers my way, man.
For sure.
Well, exciting news. We just got monetized. So
That's awesome.
I'm very excited. It's been a while, but hard work and perseverance, we made it. Now, somebody may be watching this for the first time. They're going to say, what in the world are you talking about? So tell us about Master Talk.
Yeah, for sure, Kyle. So it all started when I was in business school. I went to university/college, and I did these things called case competitions. Think of it like professional sports, but for nerds. So while other guys my age were playing basketball or rugby or baseball or some other sport you probably wouldn't see me playing, I did presentations competitively. And that's how I learned how to speak. But then as I got older, I started coaching a lot of the students in those programs, mostly for free back then, so that they could do well at these competitions too. And I accidentally, through those actions, developed a skill on how to coach other people and how to speak. So when I started working at IBM, that was my full-time gig before I went full-time. I started making YouTube videos on communication without much thought, because I thought, a lot of the things I'm sharing aren't really available for free on the internet for people. So I started making videos, and crazy enough, 3 years later, here we are today.
Wow. And now I know this is for everyone, but what's your usual age range?
Age range for Master Talk, I would say it's really everybody. Like whoever wants to make a difference. I would say most people who tend to watch my content are usually between the ages of like 15 and 35, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, we got people, most of my clients are in their 50s and 40s. So it's really for everybody who wants to make a difference and wants to get better.
Yeah, imagine a lot of executives wanting to get out there and, really sound good when they're talking about their company.
You got it. Those are the people who end up buying services and stuff.
So, like, real quick, exactly what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So now, Master Talk is two things. So one is the media company, right? How do we bring communication tools for free for the world? Like whether it's on this podcast with you, whether it's on my YouTube channel, how do we bring that to the world? Regardless if somebody has money or not, how can they get access to these tools for free? And the other side of Master Talk is the coaching business. That's mostly for, I would say, executives, entrepreneurs, those types of characters who really want to get better at communication, where their income is tied to getting better at communication. Think of somebody in sales. So for those people, we have coaching programs where we help them, where I hold their hand essentially to get the results really fast.
Oh, cool. Now, I'm sure people out there like, okay, I want to get this done. What do I do? I mean, I'm surely not just watch a video. Would you have like a website or something people can go to?
Yeah, for sure. People can sign up for a free training at rockstarcommunicator.com. So at that website, you can get access to the free training. But in terms of getting started, I mean, here's where I would start the conversation, Kyle. A lot of us, when we think of communication, we think it's just speaking at work. Whereas in reality, for me, communication is all about making a difference, but also leading more fulfilling lives. So here's the question to think about. How would your life change if you're an exceptional communicator? A lot of us dream about our vacations, the expensive things we want to buy, the cars that we want to go or get, but none of us dream about our communication. So really reflect on that, because it's not just about speaking at work. It's the way that we talk to our families. It's the way that we order food at a restaurant. It's the way that we travel to meet strangers in a different country. And that's really the key. We need to start getting motivated so that we can master it.
Yeah, I get bombarded every day with people that want to work for me. It's like, hey, I can help get you promoted, yada yada yada. But they all sound the same, and a lot of them, it's almost as if they're in elementary school when they're communicating with me. And sometimes I'll even invite them to do a Zoom call. I'm like, sell me on you, and most of them can't do it. So I'm like, well, if you can't communicate to me and make me convinced that I need to work with you, then you're just wasting your time. I mean, you need to tell me. A lot of them can't. You know, you don't have to give any names, but do you have any success stories you can share, like somebody that's just totally changed their lives?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Kyle. I'm fortunate to have worked with some cool people. I'd say one of them is the CEO of AIM Colors, Ali. She's a startup CEO in technology. She created this technology where for women primarily, where it's like press on nails that can change colors based on a mobile app. Because the problem that a lot of women have is they have to keep changing their nails all the time whenever they want to use a different color. Whereas, not that I'm speaking from experience, obviously, I'm just spitting what she says. Right? It's a fascinating thing for me to work on, funny enough. Whereas for her, with her technology, women save a lot more money, and they could pick from thousands of designs just through the click of a button on a phone, which is pretty phenomenal technology. And she has a PhD in chemistry, but she didn't know how to communicate her amazing gift in a way that gets her money. Right, that gets her the success, that gets her the investors, so that she can really elevate this. And those are the perfect people for me. People who have a gift, people who really want to do great things, but communication is the only barrier to their success. So that's probably one of my biggest success stories. I mean, she just got selected for a competition called Collision in Toronto. It's the largest startup competition in North America, and she placed like top 12 out of like 1,800 startup, which is pretty impressive. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so super proud of her. All credit goes to her. I was just a small stepping stone along the way.
Hey, anything that can give you that edge, you know what I mean? There was a sci-fi movie that I watched, and what you said just reminded me of it, where this secretary, she's sitting there and she's got this little like little pen or something, and she touches her nails and it changes colors.
Oh,
It's one of
really?
those sci-fi thing, future. Oh, I can just change my nails this way. But I don't know why that popped in my head.
I have to look into that. You actually, I always learn something from the host, Kyle. You have to send me that, because I might send that to Ali. That's actually great. Is that like a Star Trek or something? Or?
It wasn't Star Trek. I can't remember exactly what the movie was. I just remember it was a futuristic movie, and the secretary's just sitting there behind the desk, and she's doing that. I'm gonna have to do some research and see if I can remember which one it is.
I'm gonna write this down to make sure I don't forget to look this up too. That'd be great. You just gave me a $10,000 idea, man. Thanks, Kyle.
Hey,
That's cool.
wherever I can help. See, that's what I like about having the guests that I have. I am never disappointed with the guests, because I always take something away from them, and it's improved my life a lot. I know there's still things I can work on, but and if you don't keep working on yourself, you'll go stale.
100%.
Um,
100%.
So I want you to evaluate me and help me a little quick lesson, so we can kind of give people an idea of what to expect.
Sure, Kyle. Appreciate it, man. I mean, it's hard to give you feedback. You're an exceptional guy. Here's
Thank you.
Of course, man. I think it's all about, so let's start with the goals, right? So in your case, you're a great podcast host. So the next step to think about is setting communication goals for yourself. Because a lot of us, we have goals with our health, goals with our finances, goals with our relationships, but we don't have goals with our communication. So what I would encourage you to start with is pick 3 podcasters that you really want to be like.
Okay.
Not necessarily their life or anything. You just really admire their interview style, the way that they communicate. So let's try one. Is there anyone that comes to mind right now? It's okay if you don't.
even though he's kind of nerdy, there's this one that I watch, Professor of Rock, and he there's something about his voice and the way he speaks. I was like, I wished I could pick up those mannerisms because you know, I I'm told that I have a good voice for doing this,
You do.
but you don't hear your voice the same way that other people hear you. I don't know why, but that's just the way we're built. Um, but I don't know. There's something about the way he speaks that I really like. And then there's Nerdrotic. The way that guy, he's just so knowledgeable about everything he talks about. It's nerd culture, but I mean, he's spot on. And I'm I'm a little bit of a disadvantage because I'm just learning about my guests when they come on. I get to know what they do. I mean, I'm fortunate. I've known you because we spoke before, so I'm kind of a little more prepared for it. But I can read up on my guests, but I don't know that I wished I had that knowledge like he does. And I don't know if I could pick a third one. Those two always stick out to me. Now there's Eric July. Like I think they call him Young Ripa, and there's a confidence in that guy, and it's an arrogance, but it's a good arrogance about him,
Mm.
and I don't have that quality. I wished I did, but I like that. I just love his confidence.
That's powerful, Kyle. So notice how our brain is thinking in a new way now, because a lot of us don't really think about communication goals. So you kind of look at their communication styles and you go, huh, I never really thought about that. So I would say the next piece for you is picking one of those podcasters and then figuring out what is the one quality that you want to emulate from them. So the way that I approach communication is if you take a little bit, the best bits from every speaker, you'll be the combination of all of those people. So as you master communication, I would encourage you to pick one of those hosts and ask you, what is one thing that this person is doing that I can do more of? And then you listen to their podcast, but you only pay attention to that one quality. Whereas most of the time when we listen to something, we pay attention to all of the content that's being shared and we're taking notes. Whereas this time our frame of reference is going to change. We're only going to pay attention to it. Let me give you an example with me. One of the people on my goal sheet is Gary Vaynerchuk, right? The CEO of VaynerMedia. So he has a
No one.
massive social media, of course, yeah. So his skill that I want from him, that I've always tried my best to emulate, is relatability. He's so good at relating to a 70-year-old man as he does with a 7-year-old girl who watches them on TikTok. It's mind-boggling how he's able to get both of those people to fall in love with him. So that's why I try and do my best to be more like him in that way.
Well, I'm just so cute they can't help but fall in love with me. So,
Agreed. I got you, man. Don't worry.
Well, I have confidence in what I do. I know a lot of people don't know this, but I do struggle with stuttering, which I've come a long ways, but my brain works faster than my mouth sometimes. So that's what makes me stutter. And I do catch myself doing that from time to time. So I'd like to be better at that. And another thing is, I mean, let's face it, what I do is not the popular thing. Most of your YouTubers are going to be, talking about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp or that kind of stuff. Where
that's the highlight.
I'm trying to promote folks, and I'm also trying to bring some inspiration to other people because I know there's people that are gone through the same stuff that I have, and I want to give them something alternative that may help them along the way. It's difficult. I know a lot of people that are better at this than I am, and they still struggle to get more subscribers and views and that kind of thing. So, I mean, what else can I do?
Good points, Kyle. So here's what I'll say. Audience building is not about followers, it's about the number of conversations that one is willing to have. So think about my subscriber count. Let's say it was 10,000. Okay. So for me, I don't see it as 10,000 followers. I see it as 10,000 conversations that I need to have. So my perspective was super simple. If I could guest on 10,000 podcasts, even if it was just the host listening to me, let's assume there was no audience. It's literally just the host. That's the way I approach podcasting. Or just conversations or talking to people in general, is if I have enough conversations, if I'm willing to do the distribution, the marketing, the scoreboard will work itself out. And that's what's happened over time. The big reason why my YouTube channel grew so quickly had nothing to do with just the quality of my content. Of course, my content's good. I think it was more about my willingness to sit down with people and have more nuanced conversations like this. You know, Kevin Kelly talks a lot about this, and this is an article you can check out as well. It's called 1,000 True Fans. And what Kevin Kelly argues is that you only need 1,000 people who really love you to build a significant business and a movement with your media. You just need 1,000 people. Like for me, in my case, actually lower. I just needed 50 people who buy like my kind of premium services. If I have those 50 people and they keep paying me every year, I can create content for the other 10,000 for free, right? That's the way I think about it. So think about it in the same way. Meet your audience, ask them questions, figure out what they care about, and through their questions, develop better content for them so that 1,000 people eventually fall in love with you and tell 100 people about you. Because if 1,000 people each tell 100 people about you, 100,000 people will know who you are.
Well, I know my guests love me.
It's true.
No, I sometimes I'll get a message from someone, and by no means is anyone ever obligated to do so, but it's very much appreciated. They'll send me a message and they'll say, you know, your guest really inspired me, or they really helped me through this situation. Thank you for what you're doing. And that really means more to me than, you know, getting monetized. But I mean, let's face it, I want to keep doing this. I'm on disability, and I don't want disability to be my career. I want this to be my career. It's what I'm pushing for, but the main thing is I want to help people. You know? I love people in general, except for when I'm on the road driving.
You just got to stop driving, take the bus.
I just stopped driving.
You got to just take the bus.
No, but seriously, you know, there's so much negativity out there, and I just want to bring some positivity to the world. That's my goal.
It's powerful.
I don't know, man. I know there's things that I need to improve on, and I'm not looking for yes men. That's another thing. When people say they're going to help me, I mean, don't sit there and just agree with everything I say. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, you know?
For sure. So I would say the goal setting is the first one, Kyle. The other two is less ums and ahs, because you do this a lot.
Yeah, I try not to do that, and I find myself doing it.
So the trick is, and I'll tell you the secret, the reason we say filler words, let's start there. The reason we say them is because we forget what we want to say next. So let's say somebody asks us a question, you ask me a question, I go, oh yeah, Kyle, this is what I was going to say, right? So use filler words to buy time. Whereas exceptional speakers, what they do is they still buy time. They're not smarter than us, but the difference is they say nothing, absolutely nothing, to buy the same amount of time. So instead of going, oh yeah, Kyle, great question, they just do this. Kyle, great question. So you got to learn to replace those ums and ahs with nothing, even if it means speaking a little slower, just to get that outcome. And the last thing is just smile a little bit more. That's all.
Gosh, you know, and it drives me crazy when I'm having a conversation with someone and every other word is but yet I do it myself.
Correct. You got to set the example. But another piece as well for the smiling, this is something almost everyone misses, is you have to smile when you're listening too.
Oh yeah.
So for example, let's say when you're talking, if I was looking at you through this video screen like this, obviously people can't see me if they're listening to audio, but then you're just looking at me and you're thinking, even if you know it's not true. subconsciously in your mind, you're thinking, man, Brenden really doesn't care about what I have to say. So I have to
Sure.
smile and nod. I have to give that facial cue off. So that's one thing you can improve as well. So if you do those 3 things, you will skyrocket.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some of that invisible tape and tape my mouth up like that. I think it's important for people to have fun what they're doing. If they don't enjoy it, there's no point of doing it. I don't care if you make $1 million. If you're not enjoying it, it's not worth it.
Agreed, man.
Well, I've got some things I need to work on. But see,
We
that's
all
what
do.
I've needed. That's what I've needed. You get tired of, oh, you're just so wonderful. You're so wonderful. Well, that's great, but I know I can improve. What am I doing wrong?
For
And
sure.
it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. And I also encourage that to whoever's watching this or listening to it. Leave a message. If you see I'm doing something wrong, let me know.
Let me know too.
Well, then we can sit here and we can just find each other's faults then. No, I enjoyed the last time you were on, and you're a great person. And
Thank you, brother. Likewise, man. Likewise.
It's amazing that the people that you have mentioned, I follow on LinkedIn, all of them.
Like Gary Vaynerchuk and stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
In fact, I believe I've had Gary on the show before.
You have? Really?
I think it was a long time. I've got to go back and check, but I know that I follow him on LinkedIn, and I get his lives all the time. Oh, let's see.
That's another feedback point. You can't just pause like that in an interview. Because else it sounds to the guest like you don't know what you're doing. You're like, I was like, was this guy? I mean, was this guy sleeping all day? Then he started this interview. What's going on?
I was trying to remember the other names you gave. The Kelly. I know I followed them. Kevin Kelly. I do follow on LinkedIn, and I want to say, I think on Facebook as well. There's some others.
Yeah, you don't need to follow Kevin on social. You just got to read one article. 1,000 True Fans. Just read that one article. That's all you need from Kevin.
I love people that they can leave a mark on you like that. One thing can change your life. But still, it's interesting to follow them and see what's going on. Maybe something new's come up. Do you have anything new coming up?
It's mostly there's 2 things, Kyle. For the first one is the YouTube channel, right? Typical YouTube channel. So it's Master Talk for the communication. And the other thing that I started doing that I wasn't talking about last time, that I started doing recently, is a free training every few weeks on Zoom. So I get on Zoom calls now every 3 weeks to deliver a communication training for free. So if people want to register for that, they can attend. And the website is rockstarcommunicator.com.
Rockstarcommunicator.com. I got to say that in my perfect radio voice.
There you go. With a nice smile.
Rockstarcommunication.com.
Communicator, but close
Communicator.
enough.
I'm sorry. I screwed up already. God, fire me now.
You said you wanted the feedback. I'm giving it to you. Usually I wouldn't give I would just go, yeah, you're great. You're killing it.
I got to learn, man. I got to learn. No, I'd like to come in on some of those. That would be
Please,
fun.
Yeah, you're welcome to it. Everyone is.
All right, so just go to the website and sign up and come in, and I get to see your pretty mug again.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's fun, man. Everyone's welcome.
And speaking of communication, Zoom has been such a blessing. Especially the last few years, I have talked to people all over the world. It's great to have these kind of guests come on, and they bring so much to us. I've told you before, they changed my life in so many ways. We've been apart for 2 years because of, I'm not going to mention, and it's kept us from going crazy, I think. So
100%.
Communication tools. Which ones do you recommend? other than Zoom?
For online, I would say it's mostly Zoom.
Mhm.
But in terms of strategies to practice, I think we talked about the random word exercise already, but I'll repeat it again. You pick a random word like wall, like stone, like eyeball, like hair, and give random presentations out of thin air.
Okay.
That really helps us with our communication. Another exercise that people can do is question drills. So
Mhm.
spend 5 minutes every day reflecting on one question that you think the world will ask you, whether it's in your business, in your career. Do that 5 minutes a day for a year, and you'll be unstoppable. You'll have an answer for everything. That's how I got better at interviews, actually, Kyle, where I just had people ask me hundreds of questions in a day until I had an answer for everything. And then the third exercise is video messages. It's so simple, but nobody does it. Send video messages to people that you care about in your life, people who already pour into you. It doesn't have to be crazy. 20 seconds. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Love what you're doing. Appreciate everything you're up to in the world, and hope you have a fantastic week. It's so rare. Nobody does it, and it makes all the difference.
Wow. I'm not, I have to do that. I'll tell you, I had a guest come on and was saying how important it was to follow up with people. And, even if it's a little message saying, hey, I was thinking about you, loved having you on the show. And I think we need to do more of that too. I think people need to know that we didn't want to just use them. But I feel like I'm friends with most of the people that come on here.
Right.
Mm. So, any other words of wisdom before we part?
Well, I mean, two things. First thing, such a pleasure to see you, Kyle. Thanks for
Thank
everything
you.
that you're doing. I love the way you believe in other people and cause impact. You've been a big proponent of my work long before anyone else was. So I appreciate it, man. So that's the first one. And then the second thing is it goes back to the question, right? How would your life change if you're an exceptional communicator? A lot of people, when I say that question, Kyle, they
Mhm.
usually respond, oh, that's cute. That's cool. And they don't really think about it. And I would encourage you to think differently. Spend 10 to 15 minutes for people who are listening to this after the
Mhm.
show is over and reflect on the answer for you. Because for all of us, that answer is different. For some, it's to have a better relationship with their families. For others, to make more money at work. Figure out that reason so that you can take a lot of the strategies we took today and we talked about today and actually implement them after this podcast is over.
Yeah, communication, especially with your spouse, that's the key too. It's more than just business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to throw something in there because I believe we first met on matchmaker.fm, and no, it's not a dating site. Yeah. I think, didn't that where we first met, matchmaker.fm?
Probably. It was probably Matchmaker for
Uh,
sure.
I love Matchmaker. So if you are a podcaster or if you want to be a guest, and they should pay me for this, by the way, but get on there.
They
That's a
should.
good way to meet people. And we met again on Podmatch. Podmatch, I love. Podmatch actually pays me.
Yep. They pay me too.
That is incredible. I've made almost $50 in just a few weeks. So then, and even if it's just to meet people, and I guess for business, you want to meet people for business. That's a good way. Another way, I use Alignable. Have you heard of
Mm,
Alignable?
I'm
Okay,
learning so much speaking to you today.
all right.
Lineable.
Alignable. It's almost like LinkedIn and Facebook mashed together. I guess you'd think of it. It's a good way to get in contact with, and it doesn't have to be just your community, but that's how I started out. Someone that lives in the area that had been on my show invited me to join it. I actually got to meet some more incredible people. Real quick story. I saw this guy. He was a writer, and what else did he do? I forgot what was in his profile, but I found out so much more about him later on.
Mm,
Found out he lives about 15, 20 minutes from me. Had him on the show because I'm like a writer. I love having writers on. He performed on Broadway. He's wrote plays. They
wow.
have been produced on Broadway. He's a songwriter that was the other one I was trying to think of. He's a songwriter. Barbra Streisand actually recorded one of his songs. Just incredible guy. And ended up making friends with him. I mean, he's around 80, but he was on the show. Got to be friends with him. I've learned a lot from him. He's helped me in so many ways, and I try to help him out when he asks. You want to make some good connections in the business world, Alignable's great. In fact, I think you can make friends or connections, should I say, all over the world. Social media is great, but not as good as these. LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn. Get a lot of great people, serious people on LinkedIn and Alignable. Get jokesters on your Facebooks and Instagrams. And all that.
Those are my kind of people.
Those are some key things that for your business as well, right?
Yeah, most of my business comes from LinkedIn for sure.
Okay. Now, do you have social media that you can share with everyone so maybe they want to follow you?
You got it. Because obviously it's a tough wheel at the beginning, but now my wheel is spinning, so it all kind of increases all the accounts. And now things are working.
I got you. So which ones are you on?
Mostly on YouTube and LinkedIn. So YouTube is Master Talk. LinkedIn is impossible. You got to know how to spell my name, which most people. So yeah, if you go to Master Talk, you can find on YouTube. You could probably find my LinkedIn page at some point.
Actually, Brenden, if you could send me your links so I can put them in the description and people can just go to it, click on it, and they're right there. I'd love to be able to put that up for them.
Absolutely.
And put my name out there, man.
Yeah, man, make me a audiogram. I'm happy to promote. I do like a promotion for a podcast I'm on every week. I'm more than happy to do it with yours.
I'll have to think something up. I have to get all pretty first. But,
you gotta make me an audiogram. That's the only thing I ask. But I'm happy to, man. I mean, you supported me so much. So
well, I'm glad that you've become so successful and everything's going good, man. Really.
Oh, thanks. Oh, don't worry. I still got a lot more to go, but yeah, I appreciate it, man, for sure.
All right. Well, like I said, I'll put all the links up in the description so people can go to you and get the help they need. And until the next one, everyone, I appreciate you stopping by. If you are new to the channel, I ask that you please subscribe. And if you are a regular, thank you for your support. Let's get the word out. We want to help as many people as we can. And until the next one, please take care, be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network